Kind of take us through what led up to the AWA, like the history of Minnesota wrestling here,
Okay, I guess.
like we were talking last night. I guess.
Okay, well, if you want to go way back, I said when I was growing up, there were two channels on TV, 4 and 5 from Minneapolis, and Channel 4 for years had Tuesday night wrestling from the Minneapolis Auditorium.
All right.
And then, like this local guy, Harry Camachis, who was quite a great wrestler himself, in his younger days, he promoted wrestling in Mankato probably for 20 some years. And one day I went over to the Army to buy tickets from him, and he asked me if I wanted to help set up a wrestling ring, which I did. Basically, I carried in big pieces of plywood and metal things, and Joe Snyder was the guy hauling the ring around, and he put the ring together in the Armory. And then I started stopping there off and on for several years, doing stuff. They had me sell pictures of the wrestlers, and then I started getting Minneapolis programs and putting in a Mankato lineup and selling that as a program for the Mankato matches. And then when...
And where were they booking the wrestlers out of again? What were you saying? Minneapolis?
There was a Minneapolis Boxing and Wrestling Club in Minneapolis. It was actually started by a guy named Tony Stecker. His brother Joe had been the world's heavyweight champion, pretty much universally recognized some years earlier. And Tony ran wrestling, and then he brought in a guy named Wally Carbo to work for him, and he made Carbo a partner, 50% partner. And then when Tony Stecker died, his son, I knew his name. Anyway, he was partners with Carbo for several years, but they not only ran Minneapolis, they would book wrestlers to these promoters in small towns, around the state, and they in Winnipeg and the Dakotas. And anyway, the Stecker boy sold his 50% of the promotion to Vern Gagne.
All right.
And Vern Gagne felt he had never been given a chance at the NWA title, so then he took the Minneapolis Boxing and Wrestling Club out of the NWA and started his AWA.
Okay.
And somehow that they first recognized Vern as AWA champion. I think they gave Pat O'Connor 90 days to defend against Vern, which he didn't. And then when Vern got involved, he decided to eliminate all these small town promoters like Harry Camachis and run shows like in Mankato by himself.
Okay.
So while there, but Harry didn't quit. He decided to run shows himself, and I said Harry had been a wrestler in the past, and believe it or not all wrestlers got it wrong. So we started having wrestling shows here. I can't remember where the talent came from, but I think from what's the name of the guy in Welch, Roy Welch, I think, from Tennessee, actually supplied Harry with talent. The reason I'm thinking it was because I remember one of the wrestlers who came in and wrestled on several of our cards here in Mankato was Buddy Fuller, who was actually Roy Welch's son. But the Fullers, there were so many Welches in wrestling that some of them took the name Fuller. And then after about 6 months or so, Vern decided it was stupid to have two promoters running shows in Mankato, and so they got back together, and he started supplying Harry with wrestlers again.
All right.
Harry is the kind of a story I should tell you about too. Harry was born in Greece, and he and another friend of his from Greece named Gus Karras were wrestlers. They came to the United States, and they said, they both told me this story. During the Depression, they worked for a circus, And they took turns being the wrestling champion of the circus, and I mean had really wrestling talent because they would take on anybody. Somebody could come up and they went from town to town to the circus, and during part of the circus show, they had a wrestling match, and any local challenger could challenge the champion.
Beautiful.
But what happened? This is kind of at the circus. They had two wrestlers there that took turns being champion in different towns, and there were quite a few times when no local challengers showed up. So Harry would come out of the crowd and wrestle Gus, and or then the next town, if this happened, Gus would come out of the crowd and wrestle Harry. So this is kind of the history of wrestling. Gus ended up running a promotion out of St. Joseph, Missouri, and Harry was up here. They both talked about their days to be a different time. So that's kind of part of the how wrestling became the origins of wrestling.
It all started at the carnival.
The carnival or circus level.